Good morning, Whisky Tube. What better way to start the day than a wee dram? All in moderation, of course. Day number 2, which is there. Oop. So much better with the perforations this year. Much easier to get in there. Who's disappointed at the loss of entertainment value of watching me struggle to get the doors open? Right, lid off. Where's the label? Really should have, after the 3rd year, I should have thought of a better way of doing this, but where's the fun in that? So that's the seal broken. To be honest, that smells on first nosing better than yesterday's. Because the Glendronach 12 yesterday, it's a fantastic dram, but when I first poured it, wasn't overly impressed. It took a few minutes to really show that sherried sweetness that we all know and love from Glendronach. Right, let's get that in the glass. That's half the dram, so we've got something to pour later. We can experiment with water, or I can just enjoy it at a later date. So label away, store that one out of sight. So I think that looks, probably poured a little bit more there, but that looks a similar-ish colour to the one that we had yesterday, the Glendronach. Looking at the labels on the board through the back there, you can see through it, but perhaps not read through it. So, another semi-craft presentation, perhaps? So this definitely, it seems stronger on the nose. Getting notes of rich caramel and toffee and a little bit of honey on the nose. A little bit of maltiness. Early days yet, obviously, but I think this is probably going to be another low, mid age statement whiskey. Definitely doesn't seem incredibly young. It doesn't seem like the sort of thing that you get from new distilleries where it's kind of 3 years and a day. I'd say probably 10 years old, something like that. Perhaps a little bit of sherry in there. It's kind of inevitable that I'm going to get one of these incredibly wrong, but that's part of the fun. Not the most complex of things, maybe a tiny little bit of salinity, a little bit of salty oak on there, but decent. Let's see how it tastes. I do think that this is, it seems stronger in ABV than the Glendronach yesterday. It's got better body, a little bit of a better finish. I don't think it's any more than 46, I'd guess 45 to 46%. And I'm really not getting a huge amount of complexity from this, but it seems well made. I'm actually thinking that there may be a bit of possibly sherry or red wine gone into this. Definitely bourbon matured flavours on the nose. That caramel, rich, salted caramel, oaky. But there's something a bit dark and musty and fruity on the nose, and I'm getting that on the palate as well. Yeah, dark, slightly fruity, musty, perhaps like a little bit like Ribena type flavours, blueberry, blackcurrant, those kind of musty dark fruit notes. Definitely getting much more of that on the palate than the nose though. On the nose, I was actually going to say, because of that sort of slightly malty, caramel, fudgy, bourbon matured note, I was tempted to go with maybe some sort of young bourbon matured Glengoyne, something like that. Every time I taste that palate though, I'm getting more of those dark fruit, red fruit, blueberry and blackcurrant notes coming through. But so this one has got me a little bit. I still think that it's probably Scotch. And one thing that I do think about this, it definitely seems like it's a higher ABV. I'm going to go 46% on this one. I think that it's at least in terms of ABV, I think it's a craft presentation. I think that it's probably a little bit too clear to be completely craft. Not sure. It's definitely got a little bit of haze to it compared to the Glendronach. Let's find out what we've got. So that's actually a whiskey that I'm very familiar with because I reviewed it a few months ago, I think about 6 months ago now. Black Bottle Double Cask Alchemy Series. So that's the one which was, I think they did something weird, like they finished the malt in Oloroso and the grain in red wine or something. But it's like the sherry in wine finished Black Bottle. So 46% I guessed. And obviously Black Bottle being a distilled product is 46.3%. So pretty happy with that. I really like my Black Bottle blended Scotch. I think that it's really good stuff at a really good price. And that's exactly the kind of thing that we need in an advent calendar like this. Decent presentation, decent ABV, affordable, good stuff. It's interesting though that when I nosed that to start with, I didn't immediately pick out those red wine, heavy, fruity sherry notes. I eventually got to them on the palate, but not so much on the nose. And in hindsight, I'm not getting a huge amount of dark fruit notes on the nose. Definitely a chocolatiness on the nose, but not a huge amount of fruitiness that you'd associate with wine or sherry. On the palate though, instantly recognisable now in hindsight, which is obviously 2020, as being that Black Bottle Double Cask, getting lots of fruitiness and milk chocolate in particular. I think this is a great dram. I absolutely loved it when I had a full bottle and I did the review a few months ago. Check that out if you haven't. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this one as well if you've been tasting along at home. If you have, and you haven't had this, I'll be very interested to hear if you think you would buy this one in the future and how much you'd pay for it. If you don't know how much this is, what price do you think would be fair for a whiskey of this quality if you've been tasting along at home? I think, hopefully it's still the same now, but when I bought my full bottle of this when it was released, it was about £25 for a full bottle. And in my opinion, that's pretty good value. So, in my opinion, I think we're 2 for 2 so far. 2 days and two good drams. Hopefully we can keep that up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.